Farron has a breakthrough. His team identifies a mobster named Phil Ponto with ties to the Stardust Casino. The FBI believes he could be the key to their investigation into the casino skim.
He was the only guy I ever seen go in and out of the money room. The cops couldn't even go in there. The security used to go in and out, back and forth from the pits in and out. It's me, he's got a good job.
On the first Sunday of every month, Ponto meets with Joseph Tallarico, a mobster and Teamsters official from Chicago.
It was usually in the parking lot of a hardware store. So they would walk or talk. We would attempt to listen to what they were saying or record what they were saying. Ponto would always be observed passing a brown paper sack from himself to Tallarico.
The FBI believes the brown paper sack contains hundreds of thousands of dollars, cash from the Stardust Casino skim. Every month, Tallarico takes this money back to Joey Arupa, the Chicago outfit's boss.
We actually followed these meets between Ponto and Tallarico for 18 months, every month, just like clockwork. They would meet and pass that bag.
Wiretaps inside the Stardust Casino give the FBI the evidence it needs to obtain a search warrant. But to its dismay, the FBI discovers the investigation has been compromised.
Instead of there being $300,000 in cash, there was cookies and wine. I'm sure the mob got a real chuckle that day with our bad luck. Sad day for the FBI.
But while convictions relating to the skim from the casinos continue to elude the FBI, elsewhere, it hits pay dirt. Federal agents get the word. The Hole-in-the-Wall gang is planning a big robbery. It's a move that will blow up in the mob's face and bring their boss, Tony Spilatro, and the Chicago outfit's hold in Las Vegas crashing down. Las Vegas, 1982. The FBI is investigating the Mafia-run Fremont and Stardust casinos for skimming money before it can be taxed. Chicago mob enforcer Tony Spilatro's criminal empire is under increasing scrutiny from the authorities. But despite this, Spilatro gives Frank Collada the go-ahead to oversee the Hole-in-the-Wall gang's most ambitious burglary yet. They plan to bag $1 million in cash and jewelry. Their target? The upscale jewelry department in Bertha's gift store.
Bertha's had sound, motion detectors, they had everything in the place. So I knew the only way we could get in there was make entry through the roof into the vault.
On the 4th of July, with Independence Day celebrations in full swing, the Hole-in-the-Wall gang makes their move.
Good plan as far as they were concerned. They could cut and drill and do whatever they had to do with the fireworks flashing in the background.
At 9 p.m., the gang climbs up onto the roof while Collada remains behind on the ground. They walk straight into a trap.
We didn't know that the feds were watching us on buildings, on high-rise buildings across the way with binoculars, and they also had planes in the air, and they had cops all over the area.
40 law enforcement agents lie in wait. Among them, Dennis Rinaldi and Lynn Farron. They've been tipped off by a Mafia informant.
We had our arrest teams, our surveillance teams, and we knew exactly what they were going to do. But we had it completely covered. No one could get in and out of there without us knowing that night. And we stayed on the roof behind some large air conditioners.
We could actually watch the Hole-in-the-Wall gang as they got up onto the roof of Bertha's and started cutting their holes. I'd never seen anything like that in all my time in the FBI.
The FBI waits for the gang to break in before making the bust.
Honestly, I don't know how long we sat there, but we sat there a long time waiting for the word that they had gone into the building. When one of them entered the building, went through the roof, and actually got onto the vault, then we got the signal to go ahead and make the arrest.
Freeze! Down! Come on! Get down on the ground! Get down! No! Stay down!
The first thing they all did was put their hands up. There was no hesitation.
Stay down! Stay down! Stay down!
Frank Collada and 5 accomplices are taken straight to the city jail. They are immediately charged with burglary, conspiracy to commit burglary, attempted grand larceny, and possession of burglary tools. The FBI and Metro Police question Collada and make him a proposition. Squeal on his boss Spilatro and the mob and become a government witness. Collada knows Spilatro is worried he may talk. He's in a dangerous position.
Well, I just had the sense that I was going to get whacked. You know, I know the way the game works. You make somebody think you like them, they're your best friend, and then you take them in the back and you shoot them in the head.
Of course he felt threatened by Spilatro. And Frank had been in the, operated with the outfit for years and years. He knew how they operated. And he knew that the first thing they would think about is, well, Frank Collada talked to the authorities? Well, he might, so maybe we should kill him.
Facing the prospect of either a long jail sentence or being murdered by the mob, Collada can only make one decision. He goes against the very principles of mafia loyalty and becomes a government witness.
We struck a deal, and then I got all these different immunities. And so all I got to do is tell the truth. And that's just what happened.
He probably felt, or I know he felt, that he had no choice. If he was going to protect himself and if he was going to take care of his family, then he was going to have to make a deal and cooperate with us.
It's a coup for Metro Police and the FBI. Collada agrees to testify against Spilatro and provide evidence of his criminal activities. Spilatro's reign in the underworld is now in jeopardy, and the Chicago enforcer isn't the only one facing problems. Authorities continue to deny Rosenthal a gaming license. Rosenthal is also under increasing scrutiny from the FBI, who want to prove his links to organized crime in Las Vegas. Then on October 4th, 1982, the heat is turned up even higher. Rosenthal leaves Tony Romer's restaurant and jumps into his Cadillac to drive home.
I remember it just like it happened 20 minutes ago.
This is what's left of Frank Lefty Rosenthal's Cadillac. Federal officials think the bomb was placed under the gas tank. It appears the force of the explosion blew upward and to the rear.
I didn't hear any noise, but I did visually see flames shooting up from the left side of the car, the driver's side, and from the right side, and from the dashboard. And my immediate thought process, fortunately I was still conscious, was to exit that automobile. I threw my left shoulder into the door, and I caught a jackpot. It opened.
Although never proven, authorities suspect Tony Spilatro and the Chicago outfit. Rosenthal's public fight with the gaming authorities and his TV show are attracting too much attention for the Las Vegas mob. Whoever masterminded the murder attempt, it's enough to convince Frank Rosenthal to pack his bags and head for a new life. In 1982, he leaves Las Vegas. Incredibly, the FBI is never able to prove he had any involvement in the mob's criminal activities. Today, he lives a charmed life as a multimillionaire on Miami's South Beach.
And it came a point in time where I determined that in my best interest, the best interest of my family, there was nothing in Nevada that would be best for me to move on.
As Frank Rosenthal turns his back on Las Vegas, he leaves behind a crumbling criminal empire. Spilatro's superiors in Chicago are enraged. They believe that he is losing control of the Las Vegas Mafia underworld. By 1985, the Chicago outfit's stronghold in Las Vegas is crumbling. Mob enforcer Tony Spilatro is under investigation. His street crews have been busted, and they're squealing on his criminal activities. The 6-year police and FBI investigation into the casino skim will prove the final nail in the Las Vegas Mafia's coffin. In Operation Strawman, the FBI focused their attention on the records of the Mafia-operated Stardust and Fremont casinos. What they discover is an elaborate skimming system called the Fill Slip Scam. Fill slips are normally given to a cashier in return for casino chips. They require a series of approved signatures. But the FBI suspects the mob is forging the signatures and then cashing in the chips. The money can then pass tax-free straight into the pockets of mobsters. The FBI believes the scam is taking in $300,000 a month. The federal agents confiscate the fill slips to compare the handwriting of the casino employees with the handwriting of known mobsters.
But we just took handwriting samples from, I think it was about 180 or 190 different employees at the Stardust.
It's a breakthrough. The samples from the fill slips match those of several Chicago mobsters. The FBI is finally able to link the Las Vegas skim to Chicago godfather, Joey Aiuppa.
Leader of the Chicago faction of organized crime. Joseph Aiuppa's indictment was announced today, along with indictments against 14 others from here and elsewhere.
In January 1986, Aiuppa and the Chicago mobsters are convicted of conspiring to conceal ownership of a casino and skimming profits to the tune of $2 million. The court also orders the mob-related Trans-Sterling Corporation to pay $1 million fine and hand control of the casinos over to a legitimate corporation.
That effectively broke the back of the mob as far as their control of the casinos.
And then, in June 1986, after narrowly escaping conviction a year earlier, Tony Spilatro faces a retrial on multiple charges of running a burglary ring, racketeering, and several murders. Frank Culotta has already provided much of the incriminating evidence against his former boss. But this time, he will testify against Spilatro in court.
Culotta, now a government informant, is the prosecution's star witness in the upcoming Spilatro trial.
If found guilty, Spilatro could implicate the Chicago outfit in several dozen additional crimes and bring down their organization at every level. The publicity surrounding the case puts Spilatro's life in grave danger from the Chicago outfit.
A few days prior to the trial starting again, I received a call from Chicago indicating they had maybe heard some information that Tony wasn't going to show up or that there was a problem. And then when the trial day did come, he did not show up.
Well, I was first notified by an agent. He says Tony and his brother disappeared. He said, where do you think they go? I says, they're dead. He said, well, how could you say that? I said, Tony ain't gonna run, nor is his brother. They're dead. I guarantee you they're dead.
6 days after the trial was due to begin, in Indiana, a farmer makes a grisly discovery, a blood-stained grave in a cornfield. Inside, the severely battered bodies of 2 men.
A short time ago today, a pathologist at Indiana University positively identified the remains of Anthony Spilatro and his younger brother, Michael Spilatro.
The autopsy reveals they died from repeated beatings with blunt instruments and asphyxiation. They were probably buried alive.
I don't like the way they were beaten to death. You know, why didn't you just put a bullet in each of their head? Why'd you have to beat them to death and let one brother watch the other brother getting beaten to death? It's a little cold-blooded, you know.
The Spilatro grave is just 5 miles from Chicago boss Joey Aiuppa's country retreat.
If they had the slightest hint that he could be a problem to them, they certainly would make the decision that he had to die to protect the organization.
Spilatro, in spite of being continually under investigation for most of his adult life, and suspected in over 25 murders and countless other felonies, oversaw Las Vegas for 14 years without ever being convicted of a single major offense.